and we never come back. All right, thank you, Bobby. Credit Providence and credit, coach and their players and just how they came in here and just impressive, just how well they played, for the first 25, 30 minutes. And, the game for us obviously was about Hassan Diarra and his will. It's just his will to not allow us to lose what would have been a really rough game, a rough game, obviously. Would have been a quad 3 loss at home. And it would have been a real tough one for us. So I thought, he carried himself and, with the spirit and the will there of a 2-time national champion. And then obviously Terrace, the second half was huge. Aiden Mahaney, I thought his defense was a lot better in the second half, and it was a big difference maker. But, we cheated death in this one here today. And, we're going to have to win games in this type of manner. I thought the crowd at times was really great. I think, our crowds here and at the XL Center this year, we're going to need, you're not coming to games and watching dominant performances, and it's just a celebration of how great we are at basketball. We're going to need our crowd in the game, every possession helping us win. I think we've all been spoiled by the level of play in home games, and it's just been a highlight reel. This is a different team, especially with Liam out. I thought in the second half there were times where the crowd was a huge difference maker for us, but we needed for a full 40 minutes. Because we're going to have to find different ways to win with Liam out.
Please wait for a mic from Molly or Bella for questions.
Dan here in the back. That second half was like a story of 2 grinds. The first 13 minutes was the first grind to get the lead. Second grind was the 7 minutes to hold the lead.
Yeah, we actually had a chance to get out of there with a double-figure win. The credit Providence and to show the character and the culture and the fact that Kim's one of the best young coaches in the country. And we had a chance, got it to double figures, maybe get that, maybe walk out of here winning by 12 or 14 or 15, but they just, they embody today what that coach is all about.
To your left. I think you've referred to Hassan as the ultimate soldier. What's it been like to see him handle kind of like so many different roles on 3 different teams now? How easy does that come for him, or is it difficult at times?
Yeah, it's it's difficult. He probably should have. It would have made more sense to start him from the opener. Just have him at that natural point guard position rather than, to put a square peg in a round hole there. We're trying to, force that on Aiden. I thought you saw today, Aiden was able to just, he was on ball some, but for the majority of his minutes in the game, he was able to, just kind of look to create offense, look for his 3, go score the ball. So, I screwed up the early part of the season there. Haas is, he's the heart and soul of the team along with Sam. Just the passion that they put into it. Obviously, Alex is a captain, but whatever you ask Haas to do, he goes and does it. And with Liam out, we need now more production from Haas, and he asserted himself more in the game.
Yeah, it's Sampson got off to kind of a hot start, and then Terrace kind of took you home with the second half. At least from a kind of statistical aspect, is that kind of how you sort of envision this 2-headed center? Each scored 10 points. Contributed in different parts of the game, different ways.
Yeah, I mean the center. The center Dave was never going to be the center player was never going to be the issue with the team. It's like the growth of the sophomores. Point guard play. It all comes down to that for us, and we've obviously stabilized the point guard play. Got to get Jay Ross going, got to get Jay Stu going more to give us a little bit more, kind of catch up to where Solo's at for us. But for us to really get where we want to be. But yeah, I mean, Taras was awesome in the second half. But the first half, he wasn't ready to go. He missed a critical defensive rebound that allowed them to get a possession, and then they hit a three to take a 2-point lead. But second half, he showed his impact. He made some awesome blocks and some timely buckets. He was a beast.
And when it comes to this one,
Just go, Dave.
yeah, just when it comes to rebounding, is that
There's no Wi-Fi in here either.
I don't think I'll put that.
Is there Wi-Fi?
Kind of.
You have certain spots you got to move over a seat.
Bizarre. When you look at the stat sheets, this rebounding, particularly offensive board, is that where you probably most
Yeah, I
disappointed?
mean, listen, the on-ball defense now, if you look statistically for them, they generate the majority of their points. I don't know if they were top 25, but they're pretty high in terms of their 3 points, the amount of scoring they get from the 3-point line. At times it was really embarrassing on one-on-one defense. The depth that they were able to get off the dribble is very concerning. Brings us back to our low moments in November. There, but we got to find a way to be sturdier on the ball. People just with us, I think Luke and Kamani do a great job of like scout prep with the actions that the other teams run. But sometimes teams are just putting their heads down and driving us because they're targeting players that are showing up on film as not great individual on-ball defenders. And if we don't get that squared away, that's going to be a major problem. And it was a problem a lot today. And the rebounding, we're not used to being minus 12 here. That's not part of our bulletproof basketball formula. There's going to be a lot of bad film for us in this one. But, again, I thought that had more to do with, how Kim English had his team ready to play today. And that was an impressive road performance by them.
And how is your relationship with Haas different from the other point guards that you've had here? Obviously, he's got a lot of experience. New York guy brings that kind of attitude to it. And your relationship with point guards as a former point guard yourself is kind of like at the center of things here usually. What's the dynamic there with you and Haas?
Yeah, I think, obviously, fouling Pierre on that 3-point shot, there are moments like that where, you're really tough on your quarterback, should have threw the ball away instead of throwing the interception type of thing. But I got so much, respect for how hard he plays and, all the different ways he helps a team in terms of the energy, the competitive fire, the do whatever it takes to win a game, the being as selfless as he is and just, so I'm very grateful, to coach him because he's a winner and he's a champion. And, but it's a stressful relationship because, you're on him about decision making. I mean, that's the preeminent position for decision making, and he's got to make so many decisions during the game. Maybe 80% of them are really good, 20% of them aren't good. So, your relationship kind of tilts back and forth between praising him and ripping him.
What went into the decision to start Ross, and how do you think you did with that opportunity?
Yeah, I think what we wanted to go for, was to start with a more formidable size and defensive lineup. It worked great. We were torn between him and Aiden to get the start. Those are two guys we're kind of going back and forth on. And obviously we went with Jay Ross. Listen, Jay Ross's game could have been a whole lot different. If he makes that corner three, if he hits that floater in the first half, he probably plays 18, 20 minutes in the game. But he's still a young developing player, and these minutes are valuable. And he just needs a breakthrough game where he may goes 2 for 3 from 3, gets a putback, gets a cut, gets double figures, locks up on D, and then boom, it's going to take off. But the investment that we made in starting him today, I think that it'll pay off at some point this year. He's still a very young player, and he's got a really high ceiling.
Dan, as someone who's grown up in the Big East today, what would have been Louis' 100th birthday, can you comment a little more on your decision to wear the sweater to honor him?
Yeah, it was really hard. It was a tough thing for me, just with how superstitious I am. And so I wasn't able to wear the clothes I wore against Providence the last time that we beat them soundly in Providence. So, but I changed some clothes at halftime underneath the sweater. It might have been a socks change, and maybe I changed my glasses. Matt Johnson actually didn't text me the glasses that I actually wore against them the last time. I wore the thicker rim glasses today in the first half, which was partially why we were so bad. If you go back and look at the second half, I had much thinner rimmed glasses, which is what I wore against them both times last year. So, obviously Matt Johnson let us down. But I would just say, for me, I grew up on 80s. I grew up consciously with basketball in the 80s when those type of men were roaming the sidelines. Those type of men, fierce men, fierce competitors. Coaches that coached with life or death desperation to win basketball games. Coach Carnesecca obviously was one of those. The great John Thompson and Rolly Massimino and PJ, my coach, and all of those incredible coaches. Man, I grew up on that. I grew up on basketball in that era. So for me, as superstitious as I am, I wanted to honor those incredible coaches that were the best coaches for me and the ones that I've always idolized.
Coach, you've been one of the most physical teams in the Big East this season. You had one of the widest rebound margins in the conference. In the first half, you guys were getting killed inside. What led to that?
I just thought that Kim just had his team all ready to play. That I had my team ready to play a Big East game. And then if you really look at it for us, a lot of those rebounding margins were in bye games against low majors. We've had issues in the high major games. To rebound the ball, even our margins in games that we've won, and I felt like we rebounded it well. It's not like it was last year for us where we were plus 10, plus 12, plus 15. We don't get anywhere near the rebounding from our perimeter people. And then obviously with Donovan, who is, was a machine out there. So, that on-ball defense, with this team, it has its issues. And, again, when you come to our games and just even the way we're coaching our team, for us, it's like we're doing anything we can to support our team to find ways to win games. And it's not as dominating, and it's not as highlight filled, and it's not as much as a coronation, the games that we're all coming to or coaching. But at the end of the day, we're one game behind where we were last year, and we're one game ahead in the league where we were last year. After everything that's gone on in our season. So I'm really proud of the team, proud that they found a way to dig that game out today, and we got to address our issues.